boo things. You know what? You know what y'all didn't realize? I don't know if y'all realized this, but we did not do a budget review in May, and we did not do a budget review in June. I wrote it out. I was prepared to do it. I just ran out of time. Next thing I know, we were living in the next month and vacations were coming up and things were popping up, and I just never got around to doing it. But so what we won't do is fail to do a budget review for July. So in this video, we're going to talk about the July numbers. Why? Because I feel like, I know for a fact that doing a budget is one thing, but actually going through and fact checking that budget and seeing, did you live up to all the things that you said that you were going to do, is very important. Because what we're going to do is we're going to course correct. We're going to look at where we could have went, we're going to look at what we could have done better, and we're going to look at all the things we did right. Okay, so let's talk about our July budget and see what happened. Let's get to the correct page in this notebook. So guys, y'all know the deal. Let me tell you. Let's talk about the setup. On this side of the paper is what I said would happen. This is what I projected. And then on this side of the paper is what actually happened. And then if it's highlighted in pink, it means I did better than expected. But if it's highlighted in blue, it means I did not live up to my expectations, or I did not budget for it at all. Okay? Okay? No judgment for real, unless we have to. So let's talk about it. Because y'all can feel free to call me on my BS, because I'm telling you, I be watching people's budgets and there be a lot of BS. But because they ain't asked me to call them on it, I gotta keep silent. But I'm like, strong side eye. Strong side eye. Like, if you want anything to change, you got to keep it real with yourself. For real. For real, don't be so easy on yourself. If you want to do better, because we all claim we're doing better, but some of y'all out there lying. Y'all lying. Okay, let's talk about it. So, I had said in July, I was going to have, after taxes and payroll deductions, $16,627, right? I did a little better. I had $16,915. But some of this is a little bit of a cheat because I actually moved $1,000 from my June budget that I didn't spend over to this July budget. So really $15,915 is what I made. And then $1,000 was moved from June because I was going to need it. I was going to need it in this good month of July. Woo! Child, let's talk about it. First up, the mortgage, because we got to be responsible. We got to pay our for real bills first. So I said $1,536 because that is my normal month-to-month mortgage payment. And I sent a little more. I sent $1,570 because I'm playing a game where I'm keeping my mortgage a nice round even number. So I add whatever little bit I need to add to make that number a round number. Okay? And round number for me means ending in zeros. No change. Zeros. No fives. Zeros. Okay? HOA, $111. The gas, I said $71. It came in lower at $35. Electricity, I said $219, but it came lower at $217, and I'm highlighting it because every dollar matters. Yes. The cell phone was $152, and that is for 3 phones that are on my plan, plus an upgrade to Netflix, because Netflix is included in my plan along with Apple TV, I believe. But I wanted it upgrade. I wanted like the high def, top of the line Netflix experience because my TV said it required that because my TV bougie. So yeah, $152 is what I paid for that. Internet for the highest speed, $70. Security system for my home, $54. Housekeeping, I set aside $310. However, the housekeepers only came once for $160. The reason why is because when they came for the second cleaning, my keypad is tripping. For some reason, they couldn't get in with the keypad. And I knew it was tripping. I was in Tanzania when this happened. But I knew it was tripping because I had some tenants who was experiencing the same issue, and we couldn't figure out what it was. I'm in Tanzania. The little thing that says open my door was not working on my app for all the way from Africa. Jay was all the way like not in close proximity to the house to let them in. So we was just like, we will reschedule. And luckily, thank goodness for my cleaning service, they didn't charge me, because sometimes with things like that, like if you cancel late or something, they can kind of charge you something, but they didn't. And I think it's because I'm a long-standing customer, so I'm very grateful for that. Okay, so 160 is what went to housekeeping for the month of July. Bed-ish, I said 300. But what had happened was, at the end of the month, when I reconciled my bills and paid off everything, I had some money left over. And I said to myself, Self, what do you want to do with this extra money? And you know me, the extra money could either go towards travel. It could go towards my house, paying off my house fund. It can go towards things. But I said, you know what? I'm about bored paying on this bed. Slow paying the bed. I tell you guys that slow paying on an interest-free loan for me is a strategy to boosting my credit score. But sometimes after a while, I just get bored with it. I'm ready for the thing to be done. So I said, let me just apply that extra money to the bed. So instead of $300, I sent $1,100 to the bed. Okay, and so then that made it that for the month of August, I was only needed to send another $1,000 and the bed would be done. So $1,100 went to the bed. Okay, insurance for my car, my home, and somebody else's insurance that I pay came to $444. I set aside $25 for Easy Pass, but did not go through tolls like that, so that was a whopping $0 that came out. Subscription services, this is for YouTube Premium as well as Paramount Plus, $35 there. Credit card fees, because I be having them credit cards and they be having fees, but they're worth it. I have videos going over why I feel that the fees are worth it, and you know, it pays for itself. And so this fee was $495, so boom, that was paid. Groceries, I spent $303 on groceries. Woohoo! Restaurants, I spent $101 eating out. And then 2 restaurants of note. I went to this restaurant called Swahili Village out in DC. It was so good. It's East African cuisine. More specifically Kenyan cuisine, which was very interesting because I was like, you know what, you never really see East African restaurants in America, for real. And we're not talking about Ethiopia, because you know Ethiopia, they're gonna be like, this is Ethiopian, period. But you don't really see stuff that say East African restaurant. You see a lot of West African, like Ghana restaurants. You see a lot of Nigerian restaurants, and so on and so forth. So West Africa is usually most popular. So when there was this restaurant that was East African and we were invited to go, I was like, oh, we have to go and we have to try it. Let me tell you, that food was so good. So again, it's called Swahili Village. It's in DC. I think they may have some other locations in some other places, but the DC one is where we went. And I'm telling you, thumbs up. Honestly, guys, we looked it up and the chef is Puerto Rican. Well, is he Puerto Rican? Oh, he's Hispanic. The chef is Hispanic, and his first thing on his bio line is, "It's not where you from. It's where you at. It's not where you from." But I was like, oh, is this why this food is so good? Because I've been to East Africa several times, and I'm not gonna say the food was slamming like that, because it wasn't. But this restaurant, the food was slamming like that, for real. So I don't know if it was a little adobo and sazon, I don't know, but anyways. And then the other thing that was really good of note in my eating out experience is Wegmans poke bowls. Do not judge, but the poke bowls at Wegman, either the poke bowl with the quinoa rice like situation, or even the poke bowl salads, so freaking good and worth it. So those are my 2 things of note. Okay, household miscellaneous, we spent $101 there. And then fun miscellaneous, only spent $19 there. For my hair, since I was going on vacation, I set aside $200, but I only spent $145, and that was just getting my edges, peripherals, like re-braided so that it can look a little neater for vacation. Okay. Nails, I said $115, and I only spent $95 for my nails. Lashes, I said $145, and it came in at $120. And I decided, because it's not that I'm trying to get a bunch of pink highlights for real, because I do try to keep the budget as close to actuals as possible, but I decided to kind of leave those numbers the same, like $115 for nails, $145 for lashes, only because sometimes the services do come in higher, or sometimes I get my nails or my lashes done more often, and I rather have to add on a little bit more to make the number rather than add on a lot more to make the numbers. You know what I mean? Like if I said $95 for nails and then I get my nails done twice and it comes in at $180, I'd rather jump the 115 versus I'd rather jump from 115 to 180 versus jumping from 95 to 180. It just feels better to me. So I'm going to keep them like that. Okay. So Ireland, our bill came in for Ireland, like the remainder balance I owed, which was $5,095. I paid this at the end of July, right? So technically, you know, you got a little bit like that 30-day window before interest is actually accrued on that balance. So I wasn't too worried about paying off the $5,095 in the month of July, because I knew I still had some August wiggle room to do it. It's initially the goal was to pay it all off, but then I don't know, things happened. I think things happened. Did things happen? Whatever happened, I ain't have the money. So what I did have was $4,145 that I put towards paying that off, because obviously I charged it. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but wait a minute. You said you had this extra money at the end of the month that you chose to put on the bed. Why didn't you just put it on Ireland? Because by that point, I had already did my August budget, and I already put the number in for August to pay off Ireland. And then I was like, you know what? We're just going to keep it like that, and we're going to also pay off this bed. So between July, the end of July, and my first paycheck in August, which has already happened, I knew that I was going to be able to square away both of those debts, which I did. So that's why. But in the meantime, it gets a blue because I didn't pay it off in July the way I said. I was actually on vacation, so I didn't even pay my mortgage till I got back from Tanzania, which was yesterday. So there you have it. Tanzania, $3,000 for that. $3,000 was going to be for what the trip cost, which was $2,057. Plus it was my visa and then spending money. So I actually did a little better. I didn't do the whole $3,000. I actually spent $2,946 in Tanzania. And like I said, that was for the whole trip minus the flight. The flight cost me $248 out of my pocket, but I think we paid for that last month, in the month of June. So that was all fine. And like I said, I came in under budget. So happy about that. 401k, $1,785 there. HSA, $258 there. Extra mortgage, because we are on a journey to pay off our home sooner rather than later, I sent an extra $500 there. Normally, typically I do more, but obviously that's what it was. It was the fact that I was paying off Ireland and Tanzania. So almost like a good $10,000 was going on travel, right? So that's what it is, where it was like a little tight this month. But what I loved about it was I did this and I didn't pull anything from savings, because that was another option. Y'all know we save money for opportunity. So I could have very well said, we can pay off all of this stuff and pull it from savings. But then I said, if I just kind of do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, I don't even have to touch my savings, and we can still swing all of these things. And so that's what we did. We sent less to the house. We didn't send anything to savings. We did do $500 to the IRA though. And we did do $504 to gifts. I said $300, but we did $504 to gifts. So we're happy about that. The two things that we did not initially plan for was clothing. I spent $310 for clothing for my vacation. I purchased another swimsuit that actually didn't even come in before I left for vacation, but I was like, hey, I got other vacations to do. So I purchased a swimsuit, and then I also purchased a new pair of Keens, which is my preferred travel shoe. I don't care. It ain't even stylish because I do comfort. I do comfort and I do convenience. But the Keens are good for hiking, swimming, running, jogging, kayaking. They get wet, they dry really quick. So I really love those things. So that's what I did. And that came to $310. And then I had an overage. I don't know how, but it happens. So what I do every month is, along with my budget, what you see here, I also make sure that I, what's that word? Why can I never remember that word? I make sure that I balance out what's in my checking account. So, there's one thing to say, here's the budget, but then it's another thing to say, okay, is my budget actually matching up with the actuality of my checking account? And so for some reason, when I did this, I was $500 short in my checking account. $500 short. I don't know how, but it didn't matter. So I just put a little line item in here that said $500 just so that I can see that I didn't have $500 to spend that I initially thought I had to spend, because I had to make sure that my checking account balanced out, right? Otherwise, you're going to get an overdraft because you're paying stuff and you really don't even have the money there. So that's what happened there. $500 short somewhere. It could have been between paying taxes and whatever else, but it's all good. Because once again, we do have the money. We can always move the money from our Marcus high yield savings account over to our checking account and fix all the things. But I just decided to play with the money that I had and leave my high yield savings account alone. And so that is what it is, y'all. That is what I did with my money for the month of July. If my money was out there on the streets talking about me, this is the story that my money would tell. What story is your money out there telling about you? Thank y'all so much for being here. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe, talk to me in the comments, and I'm going to see you all in the next video. Peace.